You ever notice how the quiet person in a group somehow feels heavier? Not louder, not more animated, just heavier. They don't rush to fill the silence. They don't jump in with jokes. They sit there, listening, nodding, saying very little, and somehow everyone keeps glancing their way, as if they're waiting for something, as if that person knows something the rest of the room doesn't. Maybe that person is you. You're in a meeting, a classroom, a group chat that somehow turned into a real-life conversation. Everyone's talking, opinions flying, stories stacking on top of stories, and you're quiet, not awkwardly quiet, just observant. You speak when you mean it. You pause before responding. And strangely, the less you say, the more weight your words seem to carry. Why does that happen? Why does being quiet in groups sometimes feel powerful, even when society keeps telling us that confidence is loud, leadership is talkative, and charisma comes with a microphone? There's a hidden psychology behind this, and once you see it, you'll start noticing it everywhere. In friends, co-workers, strangers, maybe even in yourself. Let's talk about the quiet power no one really explains. There's one kind of quiet person who doesn't look quiet at first. They're not shy, they're not nervous, they're simply watching. Picture this. You're at a dinner table. Laughter bounces around, stories overlap, and there's someone who leans back slightly, eyes moving from face to face. They smile at the right moments, ask a sharp question now and then, but mostly they listen. Psychologically, this kind of quiet comes from information gathering. When you talk, you reveal. When you listen, you collect. And humans instinctively assign value to people who seem to know more than they're giving away. Silence creates asymmetry. Everyone else is exposed. Their opinions, their jokes, their insecurities, while the quiet observer remains unread. That imbalance triggers curiosity, and curiosity often gets mistaken for authority. Have you ever noticed how when this person finally speaks, the room shifts just a little? Conversations slow, people lean in. It's not because the words are louder. It's because they feel deliberate. If this is you, you might not even realize how much social gravity you carry. You think you're just being polite, but others experience you as composed, measured, hard to ignore. Then there's another kind of quiet. This one feels different. This person isn't just observing, they're filtering. Imagine someone in a group discussion where opinions are flying fast. They could jump in at any moment. They have thoughts, they have reactions, but they don't speak right away. They wait, they listen for what's missing, they let others finish their loops. This quiet comes from selectivity. Psychologically, speaking less increases perceived value when speech is treated as a limited resource. Think about it. When someone talks all the time, we stop noticing, but when someone speaks rarely, each contribution feels curated. This is why minimalists often seem confident, why leaders who pause before speaking feel grounded, why someone who says, "Let me think about that," commands more respect than someone who answers instantly. Silence here isn't absence, it's restraint, and restraint reads as self-control. Self-control reads as power. If you've ever been told, when you speak, people listen, this might be your quiet style. You don't chase airtime. You wait until the moment feels right, and oddly enough, the group adapts around you. But here's where it gets more complicated. There's a quiet that doesn't come from confidence, but creates it anyway. This person might not feel out of place in groups, not anxious exactly, just detached, like they're a half step removed from the social game. They don't interrupt, they don't compete for attention, they don't perform. Instead, they opt out. And here's the psychological twist. Opting out of social competition can feel like power, because it removes you from comparison. When you're not trying to be funny, interesting, or impressive, you stop losing. You're no longer measuring yourself against others in real time. That relief can feel grounding, even calming. From the outside, this can look like confidence. Someone who doesn't seek approval often appears self-assured, even if internally they're just tired of performing. Have you ever felt stronger the moment you stopped trying to be on? That's this quiet. The power comes not from dominance, but from disengagement. Not everyone understands it. Some people read it as aloof, others as mysterious, but the emotional experience is real. Silence becomes a refuge, and refuge can feel powerful when the world expects constant output. Then there's the quiet person who surprises everyone. You've met them. They barely speak, they sit through conversations, people might even underestimate them a little. And then, out of nowhere, they say something that reframes the entire discussion. A sentence, maybe two, and suddenly the group goes quiet. This type of quiet is strategic, even if unconsciously so. It's built on timing.
In psychology, timing amplifies impact. A thought offered at the right moment carries more weight than 10 thoughts scattered randomly. Silence allows someone to wait for that moment. This is why humor lands better after a pause, why a calm voice cuts through chaos, why the last speaker is often the one remembered. If you recognize yourself here, you might be someone who prefers depth over presence. You're not interested in dominating space, you're interested in shifting it. And that shift, that ability to redirect attention with a few words, feels powerful because it changes the emotional temperature of the room. But let's talk about the quiet that almost no one admits to, the quiet that's protecting something. Some people stay quiet in groups because their inner world is rich and private. They think deeply, they feel intensely, and they don't want every thought flattened into small talk. Psychologically, this is boundary setting. Silence becomes a filter between your internal life and the external noise. In groups, talking means simplifying, turning complex feelings into digestible sound bites. And some people quietly refuse to do that. They speak when it feels honest. They stay silent when it doesn't. That restraint can feel powerful because it preserves something essential: internal coherence. You're not fragmenting yourself to fit the room. And interestingly, others often sense this depth without words. Humans are surprisingly good at picking up on emotional density. We notice when someone isn't spilling everything, when there's more beneath the surface. Silence communicates not everything is available, and scarcity, emotional or informational, increases perceived value. So why does all of this matter? Because we've been taught that power looks like volume, that confidence means speaking first, that influence requires constant expression. But psychology tells a quieter story. Power isn't always about adding energy to a room. Sometimes it's about holding it. Silence slows things down. It disrupts momentum. It creates space. And space makes people pay attention. If you're quiet in groups, you might have been told to speak up your whole life. And sometimes that advice is useful, but sometimes it misses the point entirely. Your quiet might already be doing work you don't see. It might be signaling composure, or discernment, or emotional independence, or depth. And yes, sometimes it's just introversion or fatigue or overstimulation. Not every silence is strategic. Not every quiet moment is powerful. But when quiet feels powerful, it's usually because it's aligned with who you are, with what you value, with what you're willing and unwilling to give away. So the next time you're in a group and you notice yourself saying less, pause. Ask yourself, which kind of quiet is this? Are you observing, filtering, opting out, timing, protecting something? Or maybe you're shifting between all of them. And if you notice a quiet person across the room, maybe don't rush to fill their silence. There's a good chance they're not empty. They might just be powerful in a language that doesn't need volume. Which version felt closest to you? And how does your quiet show up when no one's really watching? If this resonated, you're probably not alone. There are more people living in the quieter layers of human behavior than we ever talk about. And this channel exists exactly for that.
Because once you start noticing quiet power, you can't unsee it. You'll notice how the loudest voice in the room often fades fastest, how the person who talks non-stop is remembered for their energy, but not their substance, and how the quiet ones tend to linger in your mind long after the conversation ends. There's a reason for that. Memory favors contrast, and silence is contrast. In a sea of noise, quiet becomes a shape. A pause becomes a signal. Someone who doesn't rush to be seen often ends up being noticed more, not intentionally, but inevitably. And here's something most people never realize. Being quiet doesn't mean you're passive. It often means you're internally active, thinking, weighing, sensing the emotional undercurrents others miss because they're busy performing. That inner activity changes how you move through groups. You're less reactive, less pulled by the need to impress, more anchored. And anchoring, even silently, stabilizes social spaces. People feel it, even if they can't explain it. Of course, quiet can be misunderstood. It can be projected onto. People might assume you're judging, distant, uninterested. That's the cost of being unreadable. Silence creates a blank screen, and others fill it with their own stories. But that too is a kind of power, the power to not correct every misconception, to let people reveal themselves while you remain intact. And maybe that's the quietest rebellion of all. In a world that demands constant expression,
constant updates, constant opinions. Choosing when not to speak is a form of self-trust. It says, my presence isn't dependent on noise. So if you've ever felt strange for being quieter than others, not broken, not shy, just different, this isn't something you need to fix. It's something to understand. Because once you understand you're quiet, you stop apologizing for it. You stop forcing yourself to perform. And paradoxically, that's often when your presence becomes strongest. So sit with this for a moment. When you're quiet in groups, what are you actually doing? What are you protecting, gathering, or refusing to give away too easily? And what would change if you trusted that silence a little more? If this kind of reflection resonates with you, you might want to stay here. This space is for the subtle patterns, the inner lives, the behaviors that don't shout, but still shape everything. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all.